So shopping is kind of part of our culture, sales and people buying and what's the biggest deal, and fast fashion still being a really big part of our society. So when does it start to become a problem? How can we identify the symptoms? You said right now that people feel sad after the purchase, but are there like any symptoms previous to that that you can identify to know if you have addiction to shopping?
And somebody is constantly thinking about wanting to purchase something, gets an emotional rush toward doing it, goes out, makes the purchase, feels gratified, and then goes to ultimately feel some resentment, starts to have the negative self-talk, and then the cycle continues in vicious cycle again and again and again. Now, as that increases and one is finding that it's becoming increasingly debilitating, there's more negative thoughts, more negative emotions, the spending is getting out of control, perhaps to a point where one has a desire to cut back or quit spending money, continues doing so anyway. And this is the important thing to consider, that regardless of the consequences, whether they're personal, interpersonal, financial, what have you, an individual will continue doing this to feed that addiction. And some of the other things that we can see here, people are spending much more time shopping than they do on other activities, particularly those they used to enjoy, or perhaps other important life obligations, such as going to work, taking care of the family, and things like that. So a big problem that we have, especially in today's day and age, and with the pandemic, and that is a lot of people are online. There's constantly different sales that are going on at the various websites. So now it's not about actively going into a store. Going to a store, it takes some time. I need to either walk on over to the store, get into my car, drive on over, perhaps have a plan or not going in there. But now, within the snap of a finger, whether I'm on my smartphone, I'm on my computer, it's readily accessible to be able to go to all these different stores and make purchases. So rather than having some type of escape as we did in the past, nowadays, somebody could be in the middle of work or holding their child, giving their infant a bottle, for instance, in one hand, and then the other hand, clicking and purchasing things on apps online on their smartphone. So it's very hard to be able to escape this. And what's complicated even further are a lot of these cookies that we find on the internet. Whether you're in social media, you're just searching through Google, or you're receiving these different emails, constantly tempting you with the things that you like. For instance, I can go online and let's suppose I'm looking for a particular sporting good item. I might look at a few major retailers online, and then all of a sudden I'm on Facebook, and now I'm starting to see ads pop up for this. So it's constantly in our faces, which is making it a challenging problem. So with that being said, if you're finding yourself that you are succumbing to more of these ads that are popping up, you can't stop looking at different types of sales, you're in the act of planning, and even while you're not actively looking for sales or actively shopping, you're thinking about it nonstop, you're planning your next move, and it just becomes that predominant thought that's going on in your head. And then you also notice that your emotional stability greatly relies on shopping or not shopping, and everything else can continue to fall out from that place. Again, we're spending money that we shouldn't be spending on these different types of items. Maybe we're struggling to pay the bills, we're struggling to afford quality food, healthcare, and it just continues to get worse from there.